Lo Yang burns, my lord, crumbling beneath Dongjua's fist.
And what a sight it is. The beginning of the end of the Han.
It was the work of the tyrant. The coalition has risen to oppose him.
Troubling, certainly. But as the Han rips itself apart, I sense our opportunity.
They have not forgotten you, my lord.
Nor should they. Our adversaries are many, but our resolve is unflinching. This war shall be won by our might.
We must consolidate if we are to survive. The south and west may provide useful strongholds.
They will all know our strength in time, once we have prepared. Then we shall not be stopped.
The time to tear down the old dynasty approaches, Gondu. Raise the yellow banner and ride to war.
Hello, MonstersAbound here, and welcome back to Total War 3 Kingdoms and the Yellow Turban DLC. A big thank you to Creative Assembly for first the early access and then early access to the Yellow Turban DLC. So Yellow Turban DLC is the pre-order bonus, which you will get if you order before, or I believe a week after release. So it gives you time to see what the reviews are like before you make your decision whether you want to pick it up or not, which is fair enough, I think. The Yellow Turbans are effectively the reason for the Three Kingdom period. The Han Empire, at that time, the Emperor was not very good, I'll be honest, a little bit rubbish, and he wasn't doing very well. So a lot of the peasants were starving, that caused a lot of unrest, and then a prophet arose, and he started to draw people under his banner, teaching the way of peace. And of course, the way of peace must be taught with force. So that's what they did. They rose up and they wore yellow scarves to signify who they were and also signify the end of the Han dynasty and the beginning of theirs, effectively. So they all wore yellow scarves, which means that is pretty much the first time in history, pre-recorded history, where a fashion trend got wildly out of control. So the Yellow Turbans were put down quite brutally by the warlords, but that meant the warlords then gained a lot of power, which then led to destabilization, decentralization of the empire, which then created sort of the fertile ground for the Three Kingdom period, whereby all the warlords then rose up against the emperor, and the emperor became effectively a puppet. Now, although in history the Yellow Turban Rebellion was put down, now we can actually lead them to victory. So we're playing as Gong, this guy here, the guy with the giant maraca. I love his maracas. That sounds dirty. It's not. He's got a big maraca and I love it. Now, if you're a regular viewer, you'll know that I've been quite busy recently. So we got this DLC a few days ago, and this is the first time I've been able to sit down and play this. So today is Sunday. So first day I've been able to sit down and actually play it, and I've decided to play for Gong. The reason I've decided to do that is because I quite like playing Marteng. Oh, the map's not central. There we go. Weirds me out when the map's at a weird jaunty angle. Down with that sort of thing. I really like Marteng as a campaign. Really enjoy it. Lots of very strong shock cavalry. Really good character. Really nice start position. It's difficult, but you have options, and I like that. So Gong is always one or basically whenever I play my Marteng campaign, Gong is my nemesis. And the reason for this is because we start right next to each other, and effectively Marteng has one province in the commandery. Gong has the donut one. That then causes, a little bit of tension there. There's a little bit of tension, not sexual as far as I'm aware, but maybe, up to you. So we're going to start as Gong because I'd quite like to see sort of the other side of the coin. I fought Gong as Marteng. How about fighting Marteng as Gong? Ooh, interesting. So we've got establish your power. Gong as the Han begins to destroy itself. Your opportunity has come. The Empire still has power, and we are few. So we must gather our strength before striking. To the west and south are lands we could use to consolidate, but be wary not to let the Empire overwhelm you. When you're ready, there will be none who can stop our righteous attacks. The yellow banner of war rises. So we can annex Yellow Turban regions, which means if we march up to this town here, then effectively we can just take it over. So any province that rebels and becomes the Yellow Turban province is ours. We can just march up, grab it, take it under our control. We have to be wary of Ma Teng and Zhang Lu, who I think is this guy down here. Is that Zhang Lu? Yes, it is. There we go. Okay, so these two are going to be our problems. We've also got another guy down here. This is Liu Yan, but he's not a major issue right now. We've also got Han Sulu over here, and he's a slight issue, but he's significantly weaker than Ma Teng, so we don't have to worry about him right away. So let's not worry about that. Now, if you've played Total War Warhammer, you'll know that there has been a little bit of scope creep during the DLCs. The DLCs get better. Each DLC gives you a little bit extra than what came before. And I kind of feel like the Yellow Turbans do that as well, because you get these missions that actually give you items which you don't get for the normal Warlord factions. Now that could be because actually the Yellow Turbans are very difficult. It's very difficult to get established. You can only really make peace treaties with the Warlord factions. You can't do anything else. No trade agreements, no alliances, no. So literally you can just make peace with them. You can either be at war or not. So apart from the other two Yellow Turban factions, you cannot make any diplomatic deals with anyone else. So you are very much on your own. So we're going to get a little mission here. We're going to defeat an enemy force, and we'll get a new maraca for Gong Du. Holy shit, look at that. What a guy. I'm going to grab that. So we've got a thing, research a reform. And reforms work slightly differently for the Yellow Turbans than they do as from normal factions. So normal factions, every so often you get a reform. You open up the tech tree. It's literally a tree. And you click on a reform, it instantly becomes usable by you. Now, the Yellow Turbans actually have a research rate, a lot like most of the factions in Total War Warhammer. So effectively what we can do is we can select one of these, that will research over a number of turns. We can speed that up if we want, but we don't get it instantly. So I quite like proactive planning for the extra campaign movement range, because moving fast is useful. So we'll grab that. We also get 10 enlightenment, which is this thing here. So whereas normal factions get, I don't know, what is it, legitimacy, I think it is, Gong Du just gets enlightened. He gets super enlightened until basically you become almost like a fourth emperor. Once you hit the Yellow Sky Mandate, then 3 other factions will rise up as emperors, and you have to then defeat them to take over. So that's what we need to do. So we need to keep getting enlightenment. It actually goes quite fast for the Yellow Turban factions. Don't know if it's a balancing sort of thing, but there we go. We've also got ancillaries. That's not bad actually. Each campaign you start, you get different ancillaries. I did start a Gong Du campaign just to see what the starter condition was like, and I got like a war glaive, like a silver weapon. But this time we've just got a nice wooden fish, a clay pig, and a book of mountains and seas. So some nice little toys and some reading material. That's very nice. So let's go into Gong Du. It says Gong Du. So he's currently got a 2-handed maraca. He's got Gong Du's armor. He's got a brown horse. Just a brown horse. That's fair enough. We don't have any followers yet. Sure. Let's equip the Book of Mountains and Seas, because that's going to give us more cunning and more campaign movement range. Now, normal factions have 5 different classes of character, so red for Vanguard, blue for Strategist, and so on and so forth. The Yellow Turbans have 3. They have the Veterans, they have the Scholars, and they have the Healers. I think that's right. So they've got the blue-green, they've got the yellow-purple, and they've got the green-red, I think it is. So they're slightly different than other factions, but that, you know, it's fine. I think some of the descriptions I think might be a little bit out, because I feel like the blue greens, the veterans, are slightly better with missile attacks, but maybe that's just Gong Du. It could be. Okay, yeah, because I think the elite sort of legendary characters have slightly different skill trees even than the normal characters. So we can see if we'd like select these 2 guys. They're both the same class. As you can see, they've got slightly different skill trees. So slightly different skills that you can actually select. Never mind. Right. Okay. So we all start off. There we are. So we start off with one town. We've got a donut town to produce donuts. There we go. And with sprinkles. Just want to point that out. It's got donut with sprinkles. Lovely. And over here we've got a silk trader. Now there's only a few silk traders on the map, but each silk trader you have actually increases the amount of money you get total from Silk faction-wide. So once you get to the top, you get plus 65% income from Silk. So if you have 10, for example, Grand Silk Road markets, then that's a lot of money coming in. I think there's only like 3 or 4 Silk resources on the map. I could be wrong. I've not seen the entire map, but I think there's only 3 or 4. So you won't get like infinite money from it. But certainly, the more you have, the more useful they are. A lot of them are in this corner of the map. Marteng actually gets a bonus for having Silk Traders. So I think he gets like a double the amount of money from Silk Traders, which is very, very nice. But Gongdu doesn't get that. But he does have a ruddy great mace, so let's use it on the Han Empire. The Han Empire are effectively rebels from some of the old Total War games. So they are a faction. They're not a very strong faction. Currently, Dong Zhao over there, he commands them. And a lot of people will just start taking chunks out of them. So it's free real estate.
Without people is bereft of spirit.
I agree. So let's... I don't really know how I'm going to help by killing Tian Fen over here. So we're going to kill him and take his shit.
Attack!
So it says superior forces, our advisors predict a decisive victory. So far, I've never seen this be wrong. So if it says you're going to win, you're going to win. It also predicts the amount of casualties you get. So we could actually delegate this and win it pretty handily. But I'm going to start... Oh, we could do a night fight. Let's do a night fight. Yeah. And we'll do it manually because it's the first battle of the campaign and it's got that, new campaign battle smell. Gotta love the first battle of a brand new campaign. It's always so exciting. Talking of exciting, looks like Gong Du's already getting stuck in as he's dueling the enemy general with his big old maracas. Look at that. That's it. Oh, what a hit. Glorious. I think you got this, Gong Du. I believe in you. So while we're believing in Gong Du, the rest of our infantry is moving up. So we've got a unit of Guardians of the Land. So these are heavy halberd infantry.
You are weak. I will crush
And then we've got some Yellow Turban Spearmen who are Spearmen. That makes sense.
Our victory grows ever closer.
Over on the other flank, here's some horseback huntsmen. Huntsmen, but on horseback. That's right. They've got basically missile cavalry. There you go, nice little archer cavalry there. They can fire arrows if they so choose. And over on the other flank, hiding in the forest, we've got our good old buddy Zhang Kai, and he is leading the Yellow Turban Horsemen, who are melee cavalry, to surround the enemy. So as you can see, they're completely surrounded. They've got 2 units of archers and 2 units of axemen. It's not really going to save them. And already their general is taking an absolute pounding. As our infantry moves up.
Does battle wear you out?
Let's see.
That you can both talk and battle.
Cavalry coming in from behind, already opening fire. I mean, this was never going to be particularly tricky. Zhang Kai charging straight in. Oh, it's getting stuck in, murdering everyone. In comes the cavalry. It's going to be an absolute slaughter. Already some of their units are retreating, and now here come our spearmen. And I'm going to send in the huntsman as well, because why the hell not? May as well kill everyone. You have to, I mean, some of these guys running away are still carrying the lanterns. That is dedication. That is job dedication right there, when you're being hunted and chased down by cavalry. And Gong Du has completely crushed the enemy general. No great surprise. Lying in the grass. Good job, Gong Du. Ow. Death by maraca. It's a bit brutal, isn't it? So, let's seize the supplies.
Towards peace.
So we've got a new mace for Gong Du. That's nice. Good old mace. And we've also maintained... Right, so we need a Yellow Turban Spearman captain for this mission. So the captains are effectively forces, retinues, which have don't have a commander. So it's just a captain leading the force. Some of the other factions have similar mechanics. It just means you don't need a named general leading your army. I think it's a bit boring, but it is kind of useful. So we don't actually have many supplies. We've got 60 supplies. We're going to lose 40. What we're going to do is we're going to scooch back into our own territory. The reason we're going to do that is because Marteng, if I know Marteng, and I do, what he's going to do is he's going to fight a little battle here against a small Yellow Turban force, and then he's going to head down to Wudu, and he's going to take it. So what we want to do is we're going to sit our own territory, we're going to get some supplies, then when he takes Wudu, we're going to go and lay siege to him and force him to come to us. Marteng has some nasty shock cavalry, so we don't really want to fight him anywhere he can really make use of those. And I found in siege battles, actually they're pretty effective, because his shock cavalry is tough to kill, and we don't really have the units to take it down.
Do not break.
Plus, if we're here, we can recruit some units during our turn. We can't currently recruit units. We have to wait until next turn. But once we have recruited, we can then head on and hit Marteng at Wudu. The AI does not have the same problem you do. You can't recruit in your first turn. The AI apparently can. Fun times. So that means that Marteng's army is going to be significantly bigger than ours. So let's just end the turn. And one of the nice things about Three Kingdoms is the turn times nowhere near as bad as Mortal Empires. Ah, talk of the devil. There he is. Okay, so we're going to wait for him to take the city. There we go. And our supplies. So supplies slowly get drained when you're in certain terrain. If it's winter, for example, if you're in enemy territory, you need supplies to keep your replenishment up. If you run out of supplies, you'll start taking attrition damage. That's not ideal. So we're going to recruit. And do we have anyone else? We've got Zhu He here. He doesn't like Gong Du. Don't know why. Not sure. But he would bring a couple of Yellow Turban warriors to the fight with him. So let's get him in here. We can always chuck him out afterwards. We don't need to keep him. What we do need to do is give Gong Du his new shiny maraca. There we go. Lovely. And we could always give Zhang Kai here the two-handed mace. What can you... you can't equip any of those. So what's the difference? So that's same amount of resolve. So that does entirely armor piercing damage. That does slightly more damage in general, but less armor piercing. So actually, I think the mace is probably the best one. And then we've got two maraca boys. That sounds pretty good. Okay, let's go. Oh, you're not happy. The problem I find with the Yellow Turbans is they all start off quite cranky. Now, I guess to be a rebel, you know, you have to probably be quite cranky, right? You don't find many happy rebels, do you? Generally, they're going to be a little bit disgruntled. But I kind of feel that once they've you know, joined their rebel organisation, they shouldn't continue to be grumpy about it. They should really get behind it. You know, let's just have some fun with it. Burn down some palaces, you know, tear down the aristocracy, that kind of thing. Just have a bit of fun with it. Stop being grumpy. To try and help him out a little bit, we'll give him I don't know, do you want a wooden fish? We'll give him a wooden fish. That'll make him he's slightly happier about that. He's got his wooden fish. He's going, well, all right, I'll stay for the moment. He's still not very happy. We're going to lay siege to Marteng here. And it says a Pyrrhic victory. Now, he outnumbers us. We could delegate it and we would win. The chance of winning is, if it says you're going to get a Pyrrhic victory, I've never found it to be wrong. So we're just going to starve out for the moment. Just starve them out. See what happens. So they should... To battle! So they can't replenish. We're going to make them come to us. They don't have... Oh, that's us. That's still us. Where's Marteng? Come on. Can we select Marteng? He's there somewhere. Anyway, he won't be replenishing. He might be taking attrition depending on what his supplies are like, which is better than having to fight him in a city where he's got defences. So we're just going to leave him to do that. We do actually have a town here, which I probably should have upgraded last turn. I forgot to upgrade the donut with sprinkles building. But if we build that, we'll get plus 200 income from sprinkle donuts. So that'll be good.
The mightiest mountain.
Let's just end the turn and see if Marteng attacks us. Now, if we can defeat Marteng, then we should be absolutely fine. Okay, so they don't have much. Their generals are a little bit wounded. I think this should be fine.
More enemy reinforcements are arriving.
So the last battle was a bit of a cakewalk. This one is going to prove to be a little trickier. So here comes Marteng. Welana, this is his wife. She's got a couple of very, very sharp stabby things. Fun. And that's Pang De. He's quite good. And there's Marteng himself. Absolute legend. Look at his cloak. How good that looks. Oh. So he's got a lot of G militia. He's also got these guys. Now these guys are absolutely brilliant shock cavalry, and they're going to be very tough to deal with. They've got quite good armor, quite good melee deflection, and absolutely devastating charge. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using our horseback huntsman to whittle them down. So we try to stay away from their archer fire and draw these marauders away from their support, so that we can just like just whittle them down, basically just take them out, do some damage. They don't have any missile block. It's this one here, range block chance. So because they've got no range block chance, their arrows will always find their mark. Bit harsh. Gong and Marteng engaging in a bit of war of words there. So, horseback huntsmen are just concentrating their fire on the marauders. You can see they've already done quite a lot of damage there. That's very useful. If we can hold the line with our yellow spearmen, yellow turban spearmen, then we should be fine. Shock cavalry.
How many have you killed? Not enough, I think.
Well, I mean...
Oh, how witty. How very witty.
Was it? Didn't seem that witty. Anywho, so... shock cavalry in this game are absolutely savage. If you charge shock cavalry into an unbraced infantry unit, that infantry unit is dead. I mean, so dead. On the other hand, charge shock cavalry into braced spearmen, and it happens, but the other way around. The cavalry will just disintegrate if you charge. So it's very much high risk, high reward. I like it. So in go our lads. We've got there's Gong charging in ahead. He's chasing down these militia archers who apparently have been left to their own devices by the rest of the army for some reason. However, now we've engaged them, you can see they're now charging back to render some assistance. I think they were trying to link up with their reinforcements. So the reinforcements have arrived on the battlefield, and here come those marauders. They're quite nasty. I don't want our generals being caught by their generals, because I feel like that would be a bad thing to happen. So we want to try and stop that.
You can do better.
Is that your best? Come on, try harder.
So we're going to pull back away. Heading back. Our infantry now moving up. Now, locking enemy shock cavalry into combat with your generals is pretty effective, because shock cavalry don't do much to generals, but then you can do things like, well, use your archers to shoot them dead. Oh, we've got a little duel going on. Ow! Zuhair has been knocked down to the ground. Looks like he's going after Pang De. Ooh, nice dodge. You got this, buddy. I believe in you. Nice kick to the face. You got this. Well, that's happening. The horseback archers hiding in the forest there, just whittling down units that they can find. There's a big old melee going in the centre here, as we've got Gong. There's Marteng in here as well. We've got our yellow turban spearmen. Now, Marteng has an ability which reduces morale in an area around him, and that can be quite devastating. Our guardians of land are being pretty much murdered as well. That's not great. Yellow Turban Horsemen have charged in and wiped out a unit of archers, and they're now going after the remaining of the reinforcements here. Now, even a braced G militia would be absolutely devastating to these cavalry, so we don't want to charge these spearmen if we can help it. Over here, we've got yet more of our spearmen. They're engaged with some G militia. And then nearby, we've got some archers literally firing into our... Look, this guy's got extreme acupuncture. Holy shit, how is he still alive? That is work ethic. That is work ethic. That is great. Well done there. The archer's not quite sure what to do. As you can see, they're almost out of ammo. I'm not sure I like this little bar. It always looks like health. I see the bar up here, and I instantly think this unit's almost about to die. We're going to get a nice little charge in here. Oh, look at that infantry unit's health just drop. Absolutely savage. Now, had that G militia been braced, that would have been a very different story. Okay, Pangda and Zuhi still fighting it out, and it's very, very close. I have found the AI will basically refuse to flee. So, if they're going to fight to death, they will fight to death. You always have the chance to run away, though. You can always make your general run away. If they do run away, I don't think they have a chance to come back. I think that means they're out. They're gone. Oh, looks like Marteng's wife is almost down. Taking a lot of damage. But our infantry has routed. Shanghai is there with his giant maraca. Marteng is... oof, a nasty hit there. You can always dismount your characters. It can sometimes make it a little bit easier to kind of like get them to fight infantry. Oh, Marteng, leave him alone. You beast. Absolute brute. Gong Du and Hua Lanan. Stop using your maraca. Oh, Gong Du's run away. You can see he's been Roar of the Beast. Reduces the morale by 18. That was enough to break him. He'll be back. He won't run for the. He won't run away from the entire battle. Fortunately, our reinforcements have arrived, having dealt with the enemy reinforcements. Our cavalry has returned to the fight. We've thrown in the horseback huntsman as well, just to lend some assistance. Try and finish them off. We got one. We've almost got this guy. Pangda is almost down. Marteng has retreated. He's fleeing off into the forest. He's had enough. Gong Du is prodding him with his maraca to show him his displeasure. But it looks like Marteng is gone. Routed, as has his entire army. It's just Pangda still fighting on. But how long will he hold off? Who will win this engagement? It's looking pretty close, but we do have the advantage. Go on, lads. We'll bring over Zhang Kai to lend some assistance. If they have a friendship, then that will actually buff him. So it can actually swing a duel if you've got a friend nearby. Oh, ow. Ow. That's going to leave a mark. That is going to leave a mark. So a tough fought battle, but
our victory is proof of heaven's approval.
Exactly, heaven really got a thing out of that one. Oh, we got a lovely. Okay, great. Let's take the replenishment because I think I'll probably need it to take the city. However, with Marteng's army pretty much crushed along with the garrison, should be. Oh, look, Hansu left the alliance of Marteng, so Hansu's over here. Usually starts allied with Marteng. In fact, always starts allied with Marteng. So, having defeated, we can now look at this decisive victory. Only Marteng left in the city. We've got an 8% chance to capture him. So let's just delegate that.
Our faith was rewarded.
And we lost one. Well, I'll take that. Oh look, we've got Marteng. You captured him. So I would rather die than betray my cause. So you cannot recruit normal warlord lords like this guy. Just can't recruit them. It just doesn't happen. We could get a clay dog, or we could get 500 income. You know what? kind of want the... I could just execute him, just for fun. Ah, whatever.
Dignity in death.
So we're going to occupy.
Only by growth will the word
And
be spread.
Marteng, because Ma Chao, his son, is not yet of age, got a little regency there because he lost his head. And we've expanded, so we've got some more cash. Look at that, that's all good. And we've got another mission to upgrade a building, which we'll get right on. What ancillaries do we get? Anything good? Oh, hello, we've got a black stallion.
Bring news of what occurred in my absence.
We got two. We got a white thoroughbred and a black stallion. We'll go with that. That sounds pretty good. No followers. We did get some ancillaries, so that's quite nice. We can't use normal warlord armor. We get special yellow turban armor. We can later on sell this stuff, I think, probably. But at the moment, it's pretty much useless. It's just going to clutter up our inventory. So we've taken Wudu. We have defeated Marteng. Marteng has fallen back. He's got a silk trader over there. It should be fairly straightforward to go and finish him off. Now, once you've kind of got over that hump of defeating that first big army, it's not too tricky to keep the ball kind of rolling and then just steamroll him before he can get his armies back up and actually start putting up a defence. So we've taken the main town of this province. We can head on then to the Silk Trader, carry on taking out Marteng. We've also got horse pastures over here, so that'll make our cavalry a lot easier or cheaper to recruit or upkeep. So the Yellow Turbans don't have a lot of cavalry. They're not really a cavalry heavy force. They do have some units of cavalry. Most of their units aren't very heavily armoured, but a lot of them do have a huge amount of melee evasion. It's this one here. So that means it doesn't protect them from missile attacks, but it will protect them just in general. It's all like melee defense, I think, from Total War. So they generally have quite high melee defense, generally not as high armor as some of the later on sort of warlord units. But a lot of not their starting units, like these Guardians of the Land, they're actually very competitive against the early warlord units. So in some ways, I think the Yellow Turbans are a very, very strong faction. It's just they start off obviously at war with everyone, so they kind of need that benefit to stop them from dying horribly. But from then on, we've kind of got some issues over here because Dong Zhao, of course, he's in control of the Han, and Lu Bu's out here somewhere. He's usually wandering around the north over here, so he can become a problem very, very quickly. We've also got some problems down here. Potentially, Liu Yan can potentially declare war on you. Han Sui is not so much of a problem, and once you've taken out Marteng, it's not too bad. Zhang Lu can become an issue as well, but once you've taken out him, and once you've, hopefully dealt with Lu Bu, or Lu Bu's wandered off somewhere else, then you can pretty much capture this entire corner over here and get yourself a nice little base of operations, and then from there, you can then start taking out some of the other warlords in the other sections of the map. And unfortunately, that's all the time we've got for this little preview of the Yellow Turbans. I really like them as a faction. They're really good, apart from how grumpy they are. But, they are rebels, as I said, so I guess that's fine. But unfortunately, that's all we've got time for, so I'm going to have to leave it there. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.